if you see what's on screen, sorry if the 18 plus and manga spoilers is not very seeable. I had to write that one down while making this. Sorry, but I'm really proud of this little picture I made. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoy, and please do keep aware that everything on screen is what happens in this book. So please and thank you, and thank you for listening, guys. Now let's begin. Kamado Squad. Yin stood in the herbal room, working on a more potent demon poison, while Michio sat on a stool a respective distance away. He frequently visited in the butterfly estate and grew on her, and the woman felt like she was able to somewhat stand him, despite being within a rather close proximity to the male. Ian only felt a bit uncomfortable rather than panicked. At this time, the man had gone hurt again. The hair-colored girl thought it was odd how often the genius Miss Pillar got hurt. Still, she couldn't leave a patient unattended. With Shinobu's absence, Yin felt inclined to help the pitiful-looking Miss Pillar. She quickly administered basic treatment to his wounds, pushing back the feeling of intimidation and discomfort as she felt at the contact. Yin found out that since her encounter with Tanjiro, being able to touch others was getting a bit easier. Since she still disliked being in the presence of men, but thinking about Tanjiro and Giyu, Yin realized that it was moderately bearable. After treating him, the Phoenix Pillar continued to work on her experiments. Michio did not leave even after being treated. Instead, he kept staring at the woman with blank eyes. From the slight twitch of his fingers and the downturn of his lips, it was quite obvious he wanted more of the hair-colored girl. However, Yin did not notice his longing and continued to work in silence. Finally, just as the Miss Pillar was about to voice out his wishes, a black crow landed on the windowsill. Mission for Yin Lin. Squawk. Sighting of an upper moon has been spotted west. Michio found his admiration for birds dwindling as he stared at this obnoxious crow that disrupted the atmosphere. As Yin traveled towards her destination, the woman received more information about her mission. The Phoenix Pillar had been tasked to find the source of the sightings while shadowing the group of Misetos. Sorry if I said that wrong. Yin guessed that the reason for this was to prevent any loss. The incident on, sorry, I will say this wrong, Maria Nat Emigo Mountain had done a lot of damage on their numbers. However, seeing the three men she was tasked with shadowing, the hair-colored girl really wanted to question Iburashiki's on his choices. A crying yellow-haired man ran from a shirtless, boar-headed man, while a familiar figure tried to stop them. Yin approached them slowly. Despite her quiet footsteps, they all had turned in... I can't say big words. In all at the same time. Sorry, I'm not saying that big word. Yin! Oh, Lin-san. It's great to see you again. This is Zenitsu... I think it's Abu-sama. And this is Inosuke Hashibira, Tanjiro introduced casually. The other two followed, moving to greet her. A girl? Zenitsu squeaked. At that, Yin's good mood plummeted, and she immediately felt uneasy. Zenitsu's ears twitched. The man quickly composed himself and stepped away from her. I'm not going to be able to say Zenitsu's last name. I'm so sorry. I am Zenitsu Arashima, I think. It's an honor to meet you, Phoenix Pillar, the rambunctious man said with uncharacteristic respect. Huh? This weak-looking thing is a pillar? I don't believe you. Fight me. Her eyes narrowed at this comment, her mood turning worse. Yin sighed already, feeling a headache sprout. Hopefully this will be a light mission. Under upper moons are extremely rare, and these are usually false rumors. I'm aware that you guys have just recovered, so we'll be taking it easy, the Phoenix Pillar exclaimed. Screw that easy. Let's fight. You can't say that. Hearing their loud voices imitated spread through her body. Clenching her fist, she had only hoped this mission would end quickly. The sun had already set, and the group of four traveled quietly through what seemed to be a deserted town. As they walked, Yin felt something odd from one of the buildings. Looking at her group, she could tell they already sensed it. Inosuke was about to run towards the building when Tanjiro had quickly held him back. Zenitsu pressed down on the boar's mask, intending to silence him. Yin sighed at them to wait while she checked it out. She quickly walked to the building. Just as she stepped onto the porch, bell rang through her head to jump. Despite the warning, something had barreled right into her, the figure almost too fast for her to dodge. The pillar was thrown back and crashed into the building behind her. Tanjiro let go of Nosuke, running into the building the woman had crashed into. Finally free, the boar-headed man chased after the demon, both of their forms disappearing into the forest. Despite this fear, Zenitsu chased after Inosuke to aid him. In the building, the Phoenix Pillar was buried under a pile of wood. Grunting, she quickly dug herself out. Just as she came out, Tanjiro approached at her side and helped push any excess boards off her. As she got up, Yin could feel her head bleed from underneath her mask. The blood slowly started running over her eyes, obstructing her vision. Hastily, she reached for her mask. Glancing at the kind man wearing the checkered hori and thinking of the calm water pillar, she relaxed. It's fine, if it's just him. Quickly, the girl took off her mask, wiping the blood with her red hori, using the patch from her pouch. What? Never mind. She covered the wound before putting her mask back on. While retying the ribbons, she didn't notice the blush that spread across the other demon slayer's cheeks, the pupils of his eyes expanding. Dropping one hand to her sheath the katana, the woman slightly pushed to shoulder, sending him forward. Let's go. Snapping out of it, Tanjiro followed her and sprinted into the forest where the others had disappeared to. The two stumbled through through the thick trees and foliage before reaching a clearing. Just as they reached the fight, a familiar figure was sent trembling back. With a grunt, Inosuke landed just in front of the two. Eye-colored eyes scanned their surrounding. Aside from the blindfolded demon that stood in front of them, a yellow help laid passed out not too far. The demon was tall, with long limbs, in a simple yakata. His eyes remained covered by a black piece of cloth. Upon arriving, the demon immediately noticed the hair-colored girl. Sensing her power, he turned to run. Unfortunately, he was able to avoid Yin's intrusion that could foresense his threat. Breath of the Phoenix, fourth form. Korya Hana. With his back turned, Yin threw a barrage of needles. One landed on the nape of his neck, and a few on his arms and around his lower back. Each shot landed directly as intended. At the force, the demon paused. Reaching behind, he pulled out the needles. Yin wasted no time, rushing over to slice the demon's head. However, the demon moved so fast she could barely catch his movements. He dodged and bent over to run. Inosuke, Tanjiro, don't let him get away. The three slayers chased the demon all throughout the forest. As they continued, the demon continued to gain more distance between them. Legs burning with exhaustion, the group struggled to catch up. All of a sudden, a blue flash passed them. Looking ahead, they noticed the demon's legs flying. Beside him was Zenitsu, his eyes closed. Nice, Zenitsu-san, Yin praised, not even bothering to question his abnormal behavior. She began to instruct the group. The demon immediately regained his limbs, reaching for an opening to escape. Quickly dodging each attack, he swept a long limb down, seeing the three of the men back. Despite his quick movements, Yin could see the purple spot spreading on his hands and neck. Breath of the Phoenix, Form 1. I'm not going to say this right. Kiironosume. The pillar dashed forward, slicing at his torso. Blood splattered, seeping into the red hori. Before he could even grunt in pain, she immediately executed another form. Form 2. Akai Hono. She pricked all of the demon's bodies before flipping backwards. Yin landed far away and watched as the demon dropped to his knees. Quickly, the pale skin of his body turned purple. The demon choked and spluttered, black blood pouring out of his mouth. Seeing him incapacitated, she ordered Tanjiro to lift the blindfold off. The demon's eyes were all whites, with a cross-out kanji. The character read Upper Moon 6. It's a former 12 Kizuki. As the demon collapsed, he shot towards the Phoenix Pillar as a last attempt before his arms could even go near her. Tanjiro rushfully decapitated the demon, a look of anger on the Slayer's face. I could have been, the demon coughed out. That man would have. He struggled to finish as his head began to disintegrate. Almost immediately, Tanjiro rushed to the Phoenix Pillar and grabbed her shoulders. Something felt different about his touch, but Yin brushed it off and walked away, and with the discomfort that threatened to take over. Are you okay? How's your head? We need to find the wisteria house. Here, I'll carry you. He fumed over the hair-colored girl who politely rejected his help. His expression considered become bothersome. Still, under Tanjiro's presence, the four traveled to the wisteria house. They all received treatment. In a different room, Yin had just finished being treated. She used the water from the large bucket to wash her face before drying it with the clothes given. Using the same cloth, she rubbed her mask of the dirt and blood. Once the mask was clean as it could be, Yin lifted it up to her face. Suddenly the door slid open, and there stood Inosuke. You're strong. Fight me. The obnoxious slayer paused, seeing the Phoenix Pillar without a mask. Quietly, she restored the kabuki mask, not allowing him to fully stare. The demon slayer pulled the boar head over his red face and grunted before slamming the door shut. The woman sighed and laid down, with her mask still on. Ian hoped that this was the last time she would across the two tiresome Museatoads, but of course, fate works in mysterious ways. A Taisho era secret. Yin dislikes seeing a lot of blood and gore, which is why poison works best for her.